Welcome to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show. I'm Kevin Lawrence in studio with Dr. Gary Lawrence. We are a father and son team dedicated to helping you create your new financial future today. Dr. G and I believe there is a solution to your financial situation. So as you listen, we hope you'll be entertained, educated, and encouraged. So glad to have you with us today. So for those of you who have raised children, or if you remember back to when you were a child, might be a while ago, but it seems that children are experts at telling their story. You know, if you ask them to clean their room, only to find out 2 hours later, well, the job has yet to be done, and you ask, hey, what happened? Well, be prepared for the story. See, the story is more often than not will have nothing to do with the truth or with what actually happened. Yet it will have everything to do with the challenges that came about, that the child did all they could and they tried to clean their room, but they just couldn't get it done. Well, here's what's interesting. As adults, we do the same thing. See, when it comes to making changes in life that we need to make, when it comes time to grow, when it comes time to create wealth and take a different financial path, well, it's amazing the stories that we tell ourselves and tell others that have nothing to do with the truth, yet have everything to do with past failures, current fears, and Dad, getting past the past, right? Getting past the past can be one of the biggest challenges to actually reaching success.
Oh, it really is, Kevin. And you know, unfortunately, so many people are so focused on the past, they never allow themselves to get into the present so they can create a future.
Sure.
And, you know, you were talking about children cleaning their room. On the way to the studio today, I was listening to the radio, and up in Canada, there's a 9-year-old girl that called 911. And when the police got there, they found out she was okay. The reason she called 911 is because her parents told her to pick up her room.
Wow.
And, you know, I'm just thinking as you were coming on the air today, that's what we're encouraging people to do is pick up the room they're living in.
Absolutely. And don't call 911. Just be responsible.
Yeah, take ownership of your life. Pick up your room of life. Get all the debris out of the way. Stop living in the past. Stop boo-hooing over the things you've lost because loss is part of life, okay? But winning's part of life, too. And as long as you hold on to those things that you've lost, you'll never be able to, I'm going to say, grab a hold of those things that you can win with. And to help you and I get this truth across to our audience, we have in the studio live a fantastic couple, Mark and Christina Hill, who were both born and raised in Chicago, but they've been here in the Valley since, I think early 2000, and they've got the background in operating a commercial contracting painting company. And Mark and Christina lost their house, and they lost their business to the crash back in 2008, like millions of Americans lost a lot of things, and they lost all their savings. Yeah. Just like your mother and I.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like your story.
Well, I told Mark and Christine, I think we lived on the same street. We just didn't know we were neighbors, you know. But I want to bring them on. Mark and Christina Hill, what a joy to have you in the studio today.
Thanks for having us. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you so much. We're so grateful to be here today. It's an honor. Thanks.
Well, and we've gotten acquainted over the past year and at several of our Renatus events. And so, Mark, why don't you start out? Where were you and Christina before you were introduced to Renatus? And by the way, I want to tell our audience, Renatus is a Latin term for rebirth. And Renatus is the premier real estate investing education service in America. And now with all that being said, Mark, you have a successful background as a businessman in the painting contracting world. Where were you when you were introduced to Renatus? You'd already lost everything.
Yeah, I'd already lost everything, and after the crash and after the loss of the house and everything along with it, I wanted to put my head down and kind of find a job to keep myself below the radar. At that point, I went to work for GoDaddy, local company here, working on websites, helping people with security on their websites, crashed websites, and repairing
No, wait a minute, slow down. Yeah, after you lost your business, you said you wanted to keep your head down.
Yeah, it was
and then just take a job so you didn't have all that pressure on you. Is that it?
Absolutely right. I took a job that I knew I could do, I knew I could perform at, and it didn't require a lot of external part of my life to show again. I took a hit.
So did you see that Mark was actually taking the easy way now? I mean, he was an entrepreneur at heart, right?
Exactly. We both were, and
Yeah.
even trained our children, entrepreneurial skills in a sense, and they even turned out to be entrepreneurs as well. But at that point in time when we lost everything, we both put our heads down. It's kind of, you just put your head down and you put your nose to the grindstone. You just do what you're told to do, and you forget about your dreams. So that's
dreaming. You literally stop dreaming, don't you?
Absolutely.
And Mark and Christina, that's why Kevin and I are on the radio Monday through Friday, week after week, month after month. We're reaching out to our audience, helping people understand that they can start dreaming again. Mm-hmm. I remember, you've heard our story many times. Sylvia and I, we had a successful marriage and family counseling clinic for 25 years. Back in 2003, when I was 59, we retired. 6 weeks later, found out we lost about 65% of our portfolio. And I had never worked for anybody else, just like you, Mark. I had always been self-employed, okay? But the truth is, when you're self-employed, you've just bought yourself a job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely would, yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't show up, you don't make any money. That's the bottom line. And so anyway, Sylvia and I lived on what we had left. And in 2009, our money ran out. And we lost our house. We filed bankruptcy. I had no savings, no cash. And I'll never forget, it was on a Sunday morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning. I walked out in the living room, and Sylvia was out there crying. And I said, "Honey, are you okay?" And she just literally burst out in tears. "Gary, what's going to happen to us? We've lost our house. We're going through bankruptcy. We have no money. Where are we going to live?" And Mark, I was so humiliated. I was so embarrassed. And I didn't know how to react to that. And I just threw my hands up in the air and I said, "Sylvia, I don't know where we're going to live, but I promise you this, I'm going to find us the driest bridge in the valley to live under."
Yeah.
Because it's scary when you're losing everything.
Most definitely is, yeah. And it's just to face my kids every day was the most gut-wrenching part of my life. It's like I promised my kids a future. I brought them into this world to have a life, provide a life for them, and I was losing that day by day as it went through. So it was.
You promised your kids a future.
Yeah.
And just take a minute, Christina. We're going to let you have the bragging rights. Tell us about your kids. I think you've got 3, right?
Yep, we do have 3, actually, and a 4th edition with our daughter-in-love. And one more on the way, too, with another daughter-in-love, which we're super excited
now, don't
about. Our
start bragging
growing
about the
family.
grandkids, okay?
Oh, please let me. We just had our 3rd grandchild, a little boy, and he was born a few days ago. So we now have 3 beautiful, wonderful grandchildren, and this is our why.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
This is our why. Why do you want to achieve goals? Why do you want to do better? Why do we want to reach success? It's because we have a why. And for us, it is our children, it's our grandchildren. We want to teach them how to be successful, how you can reach your dreams.
Yeah.
You can achieve great things if you just keep moving forward and you don't give up.
Now, you joined Renatus back in 2017, right?
Yeah, late January, early February.
Okay, now you're flat broke. You've lost your house. You've lost your business. You've lost your hope. You've lost your dream.
Right.
But you were introduced to Renatus. What changed, Mark?
Well, probably about a year and a half before we joined Renatus, I mean, it was time to come out of the hole that we dug for ourselves to just basically lay low, play it safe. Chris had gone back to school, and I, again, staying low at GoDaddy, working day to day, coming home, turning TV on, being very happy for a while. Eventually that...
Did you watch Law and Order a lot?
Never. No, yeah. Of course. A lot of Law and Disorder, actually. But,
yeah.
It's about that time the entrepreneurial spirit came back in, and I knew we had to get out of this hole. And literally, mentally, I couldn't do it. Every time I thought about, I'm going to do something, it's like, man, but I got my hand slapped last time so hard. And I remember those like you said, the fear of the past comes back to haunt me daily. Like, I'm going to do something, and it's like, just to get that motivation to get off the couch or get out of the hole that I dug for myself. It took a long time to get there. And even once we joined Renatus, it's still... that fear of engaging was still there, but I knew I had to do it.
I want to ask Christina, how were you handling his frustrations?
It was a challenge for sure, because you want to be supportive, you want to be encouraging, you want to move forward, but I was hurt just the same because we
Sure.
had this business together. So it wasn't just Mark failing, it was both of us failing. And so I was feeling those same feelings. And so you're trying to help each other out,
Yeah.
but yet you're just hurting so much. But truly, our life changed dramatically when we joined Renatus. It has never been the same. It has been quite a wonderful ride. And the things that we have learned, even personal development,
That's
that
what it's
we've
all about.
grown,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
just incredible.
I've heard it said that Renatus is really a personal development company, brilliantly disguised as a real estate investing education service. Your life does change, doesn't it?
Absolutely does, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you listen to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and live in the studios, Mark and Christina Hill. Just a wonderful, fantastic couple. And they're in the studio to share with you how their lives have been changed because, well, they've learned how to become successful real estate investors, embracing the Renatus program and doing it the Renatus way. I like that, doing it the Renatus way.
Doing it, that's the best way to do it, Dad.
Well, Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum this week right here in the Valley, and I'm extending to you my personal invitation to be my guest. I'd love to meet you. Kevin, that's a highlight every week.
Every week when we meet our listeners, it's a good time. And they need to meet us and see who the best looking one is.
Right, and the one with the most hair. That's me, folks. It might be solid white, but it's there anyway, Kevin. So I've got bragging rights for that.
You do.
But hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen, the Investor Business Forum is not a dull, boring meeting. It's an exciting event. This is not multi-level marketing. This is not one of those events where you're going to find a bunch of computers in the back room where someone's going to try to sign you up for something. As a matter of fact, I tell everybody, leave your credit cards and your checkbooks at home. You're not going to buy anything. And why is that? We're not going to sell you anything. We need to get acquainted. We need to do our due diligence with each other. If you would like to be my guest, I'm going to give you my phone number, and I want you to write it down. I want you to know this. When you call, you will get my voicemail. So for your sake, leave a message with your name and your phone number. And I promise you, I will return the call personally. Okay, here's my number. Write it down now. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or, hey, go to our website. Get acquainted with Kevin and I. Here's our web address. It's Wealth Empowers. That's WEALTH. Empowers. EMPOWERS. WealthEmpowers.com. Mark and Christina Hill. So you attended an event. You were introduced to the Renatus education. Do you remember how you both felt after you heard that information for the first time?
Oh, yeah. If I can go first?
Go right ahead.
So this is kind of how it went down. Mark said, you know what? We are interested in real estate. There's this meetup happening. I have to go to work to GoDaddy. So you go. It's on a Saturday morning. Can you go check it out? I was texting him and called him immediately as soon as I left that forum, and it was incredible to see the community that was there. I was like, we have to be a part of this.
Wow.
This is a huge group of people that are supporting each other, helping each other along the way. We need this. We cannot do real estate on our own. We have to have this. So we went to a meeting, and the rest is history.
Did you believe Christina?
100%.
Okay.
I would never say anything.
Well, I'll tell you
against
why
that.
I'm asking, because
He's sitting right next to what's he going to say? No. It's like, yes, because we always know she's right.
Cut the commercial.
Right, yeah. Well, I just found out about a year and a half ago, Mark and Christina, that my wife, Sylvia, was praying, dear God, don't let Gary get involved in real estate. But, she had lost her house that we lived in for 18 years.
Right.
Real estate were two dirty words.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you guys went to another event. And
we went to a follow-up event after that, and and to take a step back, we had prior been to one other like real estate education. It wasn't a big one, but there was 25 people in the room, and only one person in the room knew education, knew real estate. Mm-hmm. And so we liked the gentleman, nice class. But when we went to the Renatus, this forum that Chris went to, and then the follow up to that, the raise of hands in the room, there was 70% of the people in the room were already doing real estate, which was a huge eye opener. Yeah. And when we asked the person that invited us a little bit more about what's going on, she said all the right things as far as like, we're helping distressed homeowners, we're helping people in distressed situations, and we're creating win-win situations. And she went on, and it's like my jaw dropped, hit the floor, and as we left, it's like, okay.
I bet you and Christina were really drawn to that, helping other people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, because of what you've been through.
100%, exactly right.
Right. And that is such a key factor that we've discovered within the Renatus community, is that it's not just about me helping me.
Right.
It's about us helping each other. Mm-hmm. It's about people that will never make a dime off of what I'm doing.
Right.
Helping me. Right. And I'm going to do the same for others. And that is absolutely worth its weight in gold. If you want to be a part of a community where you can give, not just receiving, it's not just about getting something for myself to succeed. It's about helping.
I'll tell you what, Kevin, I'm listening to Christina and Mark. I mean, and I'm going to say this to you in front of them, okay? Yeah. They literally personify the heart and the culture of Renatus.
Yes, absolutely. And, when Mark and Christina, when you're going through your loss, and there's a lot we've talked about here today, and I haven't even talked about my bankruptcy and foreclosure that Lori and I went through,
Okay, now my come kids, on. That's enough bankruptcy talk, okay?
I know, kidding. And our children were little, and Mark, I identify with what you're saying as a provider, as the leader of your family, as, you have that pressure. He said, I brought you in this world, and I committed to take care of you, and then you have that financial loss, and it rocks your world.
Absolutely.
And you said that even after you enrolled in Renatus, it took you a little bit to kind of clear your mind and get that energy back up again. And it's definitely a process, no doubt. It doesn't happen overnight. But very few people were around us at that time when we were going through our loss. We didn't have that community. We didn't have people around us who understood what was happening to us financially. They didn't understand what we were facing. Renatus is full of people who have lost. Now, it sounds weird. You go, well, then why do I want to hang out with those people? It's like, no, but the point is this. The reason where we're at this point in life is because we've lost, but because we've learned. We've learned from our loss. And then we say, okay, there is life after bankruptcy. There is life after loss. It doesn't have to be this way forever. Mm-hmm. Then you get around a bunch of people and go, hey, yeah, I've been there too, and I rebounded. Yep. And I've gone to the next level now. And I'm able to carve that path, and you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
And it's not just, well, it's Dr. Gary Lawrence and his counseling. It's nothing special about people, right? I mean, like one person isn't better or greater than the other. It's people from all walks of life that have learned how to take these strategies we learned through Renatus and make them a reality.
And, as I'm listening to you, Kevin, I'm thinking about all of our instructors. How many do we have now? 29 instructors?
Yeah, about that.
Easily 29.
29, 28, 29. And every one of them are practicing real estate investors. I mean, that's what they do for a living. Mm-hmm. And I tell everybody, and you may want to comment on this, there's not one of our instructors, not one of our company leaders, not one of our team leaders nationwide that I know of that have an attitude of selfishness or pridefulness or an egotism or this is me first. They all have a spirit of gratitude, an attitude, a spirit of service with servitude. What can I do to serve you?
Absolutely.
The word that I always think about is altruistic.
Oh, I like that.
Which is truly selfless.
Right.
These instructors and everyone within the community truly are leaders within the community. These people are all after helping others succeed. Right. And they recognize, I think it's the coolest thing is the community and these instructors, they're recognizing, hey, we have had other people helping us too, so it's time to pay it forward. And they've been doing this for years, for decades. Mm-hmm. And they're willing to share their expertise with us so that we can be successful in those areas as well. People like Jeff and John and Chris and, oh my goodness, all of these wonderful people that give
Jeff
of their
Armstrong.
time.
Jeff Armstrong.
Notes.
To
Oh my
expand on that a little
goodness.
bit, yeah, you recently hosted Jeff Armstrong at one of your
Right, yeah, we
forums.
just had him intensive, yeah.
Right. So after that event, we got to talking to him, and we have since been to his house twice. We told him our story, and we've been out to his house. He showed us a little bit of the ropes, and we're going to continue to network together as I look at the performing note side of our industry.
And that is so different than typical college education, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, literally, I've got just about every one of our instructors' personal cell phone numbers in my phone. And here you build a relationship with Jeff Armstrong, nice guy.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's other instructors.
Yeah,
I bet you've gotten acquainted with Darren Davis out in California.
Not yet, but I know that he's absolutely phenomenal too.
We have him coming in a couple of months to another intensive.
Yeah,
so you're gonna
looking
get
forward
meet
to
him.
that.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fantastic.
Mark and Christina, you guys have been to some of our events. Would you take just a minute and describe what it's like meeting our team members?
It comes back to community. We get to where we are through networking and through people's encouragement and are encouraging other people. So going to one of your intensives is very much, you're seeing an instructor breaking down a portion of our education in a way that makes it understandable, the ability to take questions, and inflection is really what it's about. Because we can look at a video and we can learn, but when you're there and that one thing that's in the back of your mind is also in the back of the mind of the person next to you, and hey, there's a question. I was thinking the same thing. So we're able to break it down to a granular level of what this is about. How does it affect my market here versus another market in the other part of the country?
Yeah.
I tell you, I love the way Mark talks, man. He knows where he's going with this conversation, doesn't he? Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and we have Mark and Christina Hill live in the studio, all the way from Tempe, Arizona. And Mark and Christina both ran a painting and contracting company. Very successful, but like you and I and millions of Americans, they lost everything back in 2008, lost their home, lost their business, lost their dream. But
That's
now,
an important thing, yeah.
yeah, but now they're part of the Renatas family, and we're just so proud and grateful to have you both in the studio, Mark and Christina.
Thanks
and
for having
we're
us.
grateful to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Kevin, you wanted to start out having them share something.
That was a smooth transition. So, yeah,
Well, there was
Mark and Christina, so glad you guys are in studio. It's been a great week, and we're glad you're here. So we talked about yesterday, kind of laid the groundwork, but to bring our listeners up to speed, yeah, you've been through a cycle of loss, but you started to rebound, and Mark, you said you got your job and put your head down and just kind of had to recover from it, similar to what I did. But now that when you and Christina came back out of it, let's say that the fog cleared and you started going, okay, now what are we going to do? Because the path you were on, you didn't want to be on that path forever.
That's correct.
So of all the things you could choose, of all the businesses you could start, of all the entrepreneurial endeavors for which you could put your hand to, why real estate?
For me, real estate, as we looked into what we could do, and we looked around a little bit, there's franchises like you mentioned before, but the area where I felt like I had the most control, again, where I wasn't dependent upon other people guiding me or an economy making it good or bad, in which the economy of 2008 did. Real estate, as people talk to us and we learn more about it, is something that we can grow in whether the economy is going up or the economy is going down. There's different strategies, different ways to market, different ways to buy and sell real estate, totally depending on where the market's at. And I can profit in both areas.
Okay. Christina, why real estate for you? Isn't real estate risky?
Oh, yeah.
I love the honesty. Yeah, it sure is. I don't know what you're doing.
That's just real.
Yeah.
You know, it is risky, but with risk comes great rewards.
Right.
And we know that.
And without risk, there is no reward.
That's right.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And here, let me backtrack a little bit,
Sure.
too. We were interested in real estate, and we... do you remember Carlton Sheets?
Oh, love Carlton.
Yeah.
yes.
got his VHS
So
tape
yes,
today.
Yeah,
we
circa
had those.
1991.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was
We had
about
them.
15 years ago I threw his tapes away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did nothing with those tapes
Mm-hmm.
but watch them, and then we're confused by them. And you know why? Because it was just us and the videotape.
Right.
We had no one helping us through, no one instructing us, no one showing us the step-by-step path.
Right.
So that's what Renatas has brought to us.
Well, I think what you're alluding to is the community part of
Yes.
Renatus. Let's talk about that. What's it mean to be part of the Renatus community?
Well, for me, it's, again, having the people you can talk to. I've saved more money in making bad decisions than I can count right now, because I was going to go, all in on something and be like, whoa, look at this and look at that, look at this. You don't want to go into that right away.
You seem like the kind of guy that has to be reined in just a little
Just
bit.
occasionally.
Just a little.
Just a little.
That's a different radio show.
That's okay. That's your personality.
Yeah.
But at least you're the kind of personality that says, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Absolutely right. And when we heard the full description of what the community is and what the education is, we were all in at that point, because we needed the guidance. We need people to come alongside us and kind of show us the way. Somebody I can shadow, look at their successes, look at their failures, and see where to make the right decisions, wrong decisions. And like you said on a previous time, like, I got people's phone numbers that I fully respect,
Right.
are established within the real estate community, and I can ask them questions. And they've been on my job sites. They've been on, they've come out and said, looked at things, made some suggestions, some recommendations, and we've moved forward with those.
And prayers.
And prayers, yeah.
Just, people coming alongside us. Our very first fix and flip, we had, can I say their name? John and Pam.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Coming
Absolutely.
out.
We've had
They
John on
okay.
often. Yeah,
They came and they prayed with us, and and at a moment's notice,
Yeah.
I just texted Pam and I said, "We have our very first deal, and I am terrified
Yeah.
because I don't know what I'm doing." And I said, "Will you just come and pray with me?" And within an hour, she was there. So the thing about it is that you have these people that, again, there's nothing in it for them. They just want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
Well, there is the joy of serving others.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's always
that's
there.
the bottom
And
line.
for our listeners, we were talking about John and Pam. So John McCants is our auction instructor, and he and his wife Pam, they live here in the Valley. As a matter of fact, of our instructors, and we'll get to that later, but of all their instructors, we have probably about 3 or 4 that actually live here in the Valley.
Correct.
So what you're looking at real estate, John and Christina. You said, well, real estate is something you could control in in up or down economic markets.
Correct.
If you understand the strategies that come with it. Because I get this a lot. Oh, you and Lori are in real estate. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a great market right now. Yeah, well, it is, but that's not why I'm in real estate. I don't get involved, or I don't invest in real estate and build a portfolio because the market's good. If it's good, it might help benefit us in certain strategies, but we learn how to generate cash and create portfolios of cash flow in up markets, down markets, or sideways markets.
Right.
Okay.
Even nationwide. I mean, part of what I'm studying now is to learn how to work out of state. I mean,
Well, I was going to say, aren't you doing some real estate in Chicago?
I'm not doing the real estate in Chicago. I do own some non-performing notes. We did a mastermind as part of our Renatus group, and several of us got together and bought some non-performing notes, and none of them west of the Mississippi. They're all on the east part of the United States.
Okay.
We bought 7 assets. We don't call them houses because we just own the mortgages. So with those, we bought 7 assets. I'll never step foot in one of them. I've seen one of them by fault. When we went on vacation, we actually drove by one that we were considering. We stopped by Gary, Indiana, took a couple pictures, and on our way through.
Well, that's what you do with Gary, Indiana. You just stop by.
Yeah. I was ready to get out of the car. My wife's like, "No, you are not getting out of the car." It was not a bad neighborhood.
I was born and raised in Wabash, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a Hoosier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mark and Christina, during your years of owning your painting contracting business, what prevented you from investing in real estate then if you were around it all the time?
I want to
Fear.
come back and answer that question, okay? I want to
Okay.
go to
All
our
right.
audience.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's come back. Hey, you're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and live in the studio, we have Mark and Christina Hill, just a fantastic couple. They're just sharing from their heart to your heart how you can change your life through the wonderful world of real estate investing. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum this week. What is the business forum? Well, it's an exciting event. It's not a boring, dull business meeting. You're going to meet a lot of wonderful people. You're going to learn about real estate investing as it is today, not where it was in 2008, 9, or 10. You're going to meet a wonderful people who have literally become part of our local teams, and you're just going to see what the possibilities are for you to learn how to get educated and become a successful real estate investor. It's not an overnight get-rich program, okay?
Oh.
But if you're teachable and coachable, I'll guarantee you this, your life will change financially, mentally, emotionally. in a lot of different ways. But I want you to be my guest. If you would like to take me up on my offer, you're going to have to call me. And I'm going to give you my phone number in a minute. And I remember one time I said, hey, if you're driving down the freeway, pull over and write down my phone number. And you know, Kevin, I had a couple do that, and then they called me, and they became part of our team.
There you go. See, so it pays off to pull over.
Pull over and write down my phone number. Are you ready? It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. And by the way, leave a message for me with your name and phone number. And hey, maybe you'd like to go visit Kevin and I at our website. Let me give that to you real quick. It's Wealth Empowers. That's WEALTH Empowers, EMPOWERS, wealthempowers.com. Now back to Kevin and our guest, Mark and Christina.
So I asked you before we went to break, in the past you were around real estate because you had a painting and contracting company, so you're around it all the time. What prevented you from investing in real estate and creating a business model from that in the past?
I can start with that. The business was good, but it wasn't great. I mean, it's a very competitive industry, and I actually had done some painting for some flippers and some people working hedge funds. So I'd seen that a little bit, but I just never had the savings and the direction and the gumption to do it. I was already overwhelmed with my own business and keeping that afloat, so I'm trying to keep that going. The funny thing in 2008, my primary contracts were with banks. And as soon as the wind blew the wrong direction, they kind of both sat me down and said, hey, Mark, we're done for the year, if not forever. So.
Yeah, we don't need our buildings painted.
Yeah, or they would take care. Their internal staff did the painting because they had They had some internal staff, and then they hired vendors like myself. And I was cut off I was on the first wave of.
Yeah, right.
She was like, hey.
So Mark, you're saying it was, hey, I don't have the money to pay for it. I don't have the credit. I can't get into buying properties. What about you, Christina? What was it for you?
There was fear. That 4-letter word.
Right.
Yeah, fear of. And what was it? Fear of failure, fear of taking a risk, fear of the unknown, fear of what if, any of those kind of things. Not having money, you have to. Everyone knows, right? I am being sarcastic, that you have to have money in order to invest in real estate, right?
Right. But it doesn't have to be your money.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, the reason I'm unpacking all this, and the reason I'm unpacking this is because here you guys are on the front lines. Mark, you said you worked for flippers. You painted houses for people flipping houses.
Yep.
It's in front of us constantly. But if we have a predisposed mindset, it's risky and you'll lose money. And whenever someone loses in real estate that you know personally, or you hear a story in the news, you go, see, told you, and you confirm your own bias. Isn't that interesting? We do that.
True.
And there's people listening right now that they hear Mark and Christina go, well, we've learned something new. And so now we're investing in real estate and it's different, but they're still thinking to themselves, yeah, but.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but. So with the Renatus education system, has that been able to minimize your fears and minimize your risks?
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got to, I've been in higher ed, as you noted,
sure,
for quite some time, and I've been working in higher ed, and I've got a degree. So I believe in education, but the kind of education that you need in order to be successful truly in a business, whether it's any kind of business or within real estate, is not, the books and mortar type of education. You've got to be able to have a hands-on education, and that's what Renatus has been able to offer us.
What is your degree in?
I have a Bachelor's of Arts in Human Development and a Master's of Education in Higher Education.
Wow, so you got 2 degrees. Do you have any degrees, Mark?
High school.
Oh, high school. Okay, that counts. But so anyway, you got 2. I've got 5 degrees.
Yeah,
Christina.
I know.
Yeah. So let's you and I have a garage sale.
Right,
okay?
please.
Yeah. If you would like to make Christina and I an offer on one of our degrees, you can call me at, So we're grateful for those degrees.
Sure.
But there comes a point in time where those degrees have no value financially. Am I right or right?
Correct.
So Mark, now, and Christina, have you seen now that you don't have to use all your own money or your own credit to buy real estate?
Yes.
Yep.
It's,
Yeah, even
it's
the notes that we
wonderful.
purchased, we didn't use any of our own money on that at all. And
So you bought these notes and you didn't use any of your own money?
I don't know.
Well, the cool
Isn't that
thing,
illegal? I'm sorry, cut you off. The
no,
cool-
that is
Sounds
but
illegal
that is
coming
such
across-
a common, combative statement of
Yeah.
it. Isn't
Well,
that illegal?
And people just heard Kevin say that. What do you mean you can buy real estate with none of your own money? Now stop and think about it. Everybody that has a mortgage, they bought that property with none of their own money.
or very little of it.
Yeah, bottom line,
It's about leverage.
it's all about leverage.
Yeah. So I think, but you've learned you can control property without having to come out of pocket with your own money.
Correct. When we did our first flip, we borrowed people's money out of a HELOC. They had available cash. I paid a handsome return on that, and I still made I still did what I did on the profit as well. So they were very happy to lend me. That case was $70,000 for a number of 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
And we did a 14% return on them. So
Yeah.
they weren't doing the same with their own funds, their own
Now
savings.
wait a minute, slow down, cowboy.
Now, let me give my disclaimer. The numbers you're about ready to hear are not typical for every deal. Okay. But go ahead.
Okay, so you made $70,000 profit.
No.
you borrowed
we borrowed
$70,000
$70,000 from a couple
Okay.
within the community, and they got it from a HELOC, and we had the money for 8 months or so, and we were able to return
14% return on their investment.
Correct.
I bet they were happy campers.
They were pretty happy, yeah.
Yeah, because you're not going to come anywhere close to that. I had a pastor who invested $150,000 with me on a deal. I had another lady who invested $235,000. So I had a total of $385,000, and I'm depositing it in my business account. We're getting ready to close on 2 properties, and the teller at the bank said, "Oh, Dr. Lawrence, with this amount of money, you should put it in one of our savings accounts." And I looked at her, I said, "Well, I really appreciate your suggestion. How much interest are you paying now?" And she literally lit up like a Christmas tree light bulb. And she said, "Oh, we're paying 0.25% interest."
Wow.
That's a quarter of 1%.
Yeah.
And-
I've had a very similar experience. I kind of just laughed at her and been like, sorry.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, let's say our friend Bill says if there's a point in front of your interest number that you're earning, then it's pointless.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's the
If there's
point
a
of having
point
it.
in
If you
front
got
of
a
it, it's
point in front of
pointless.
it. Now, Mark, are you able to share like roughly what your profit was at the end of that deal?
Actually, unfortunately, on that one, we actually took a small loss.
Okay. All
But
right.
it was part of our education.
Okay.
And I, like you said, it's hard to rein me in a little bit. I got a little bit ahead of the education.
Well, that's why I remember you telling me that before we went on the air.
Yeah.
You're an exciting guy.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have
I keep
recovered.
telling myself that.
Well, you know what? With all the deals I've done, I lost $23,000 on one deal.
Yeah.
But thank God, because of the Renas education, I was winning on all the other deals. But the only reason I lost it wasn't because I didn't know what I was doing. It was because I had a project manager that embezzled from me, and it took me 3 weeks to uncover his scheme. And when I did, you'd be proud of me, Mark. I didn't kill him.
Well, that's good.
Kevin
That's
did
very
it for you.
Christian of you.
Oh boy, I tell you what. And but you know what? It's because of the Renatus education, the system, that you learn how to mitigate your losses,
Oh, absolutely.
and you put a stop to that nonsense. And but it's like
Well,
you say all the time:
yeah.
real estate investing is not all cupcakes and ding dongs.
It is not cupcakes and ding dongs, and we mitigate risk. We don't eliminate risk, but we learn, and we have access 24/7 on demand. All of the education we can stream it anytime. This is a lifetime enrollment when you enroll in the education. And Mark and Christina, you shared a relationship that you've been able to develop personally with one of our national instructors. Very successful gentleman in the notes buying industry. It's a whole niche of real estate investing. Forget fix and flip. What if you just buy notes? It's a whole other thing people need to get educated on. So the breadth and the depth of the Renatus education and the community is more than we can get across on the mic right now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
100%.
impossible for us to unpack.
Absolutely impossible. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking even the things like business development,
Velocity
business
banking.
credit, velocity banking, creative acquisitions, It's not
real
just
estate red flags.
Yes, there's so much.
I'll bet it's safe to say, Christina, you and Mark can walk in a property and probably in about 20 minutes determine whether or not it's a possible deal.
Yes, now we can.
Yeah, because you know what to look for.
And yeah, exactly. Very helpful. Going back to our one property, it was labor that was an issue for us, but the education has come around, and we've totally embraced that. And we embraced the loss. It was a very educational part of our life as much as the education itself.
Yeah. You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and we have this fantastic couple, Mark and Christina Hill, live in the studio with us. I'll tell you, Kevin, I'm just enjoying this interview so much.
It's a pleasure to have him here. Yeah.
Tell our audience about our business forum.
This week we have our Investor Business Forum, and Dr. G and I extend our personal invitation to you. Come be our guest. Find out what this entire community is about. You'll meet us personally. Find out this crazy world of Renatus. Is it real for you? Is it potential for you? And just, get all that you need to get, the information that you need to make an informed decision. So in just a minute, I'm going to give you a phone number. You'll call, leave your name and phone number, and Dr. G and I will get back to you right away. So the number you're going to call is 602-730-5645. That number again is 602-730-5645. Again, speak slowly, clearly, and Dr. G and I will get right back with you. Also, I want you to check us out on the web. Our website is wealthempowers.com, WEALTH. EMPOWERS, wealthempowers.com. You can also drop us a message there and we'll get back to you. But either way, let's get connected. We love meeting our listeners, Dad, at our business forum. They're not buying anything. They're just doing their due diligence to come find out if this is a fit for them and if they're a fit for us, because not everyone qualifies to work with us.
And we have a property tour every Saturday where we go to one of our students' properties that they're rehabbing and fixing and flipping. I think that's how you were introduced to Renatus, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's our first exposure.
We've got about 3 minutes left, 2 minutes. Would you take 1 minute and tell our audience why they all call Dr. G?
All right.
Can you do that? Because I know you're straight across the board.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, Dr. G, you are a very upstanding, ethical person, which we all recognize that. It's an honor, definitely. And so for those folks here that are thinking, shouldn't I make that phone call? You should. And here's why. Do you want to be a part of a community of people that are doing things, that are moving forward, that are doing things with their lives, that are bettering not only their own lives, but other people's lives as well, and bringing people along for the ride? You're going to be a part of a community where, like I said, the altruistic. Do you want to be a part of that? Well, then join us. Come to the meeting. Make that phone call.
Wow. You know what, Mark? I can understand now, listening to Christina, why when she went to that property tour and she came home and said, we got to do this.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, you guys are just sold and you are committed and you're changing other people's lives. I just want to say God bless you for giving of yourselves to other people. And thank you for being our guest this week. Okay? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. And I know many of you are dealing with issues in your life. You say, Dr. G, you just don't understand the things I'm dealing with. Well, maybe the reason you're dealing with those things is because you haven't been willing to make a change yet. If you're waiting for things to become perfect before you make a change, I got news for you. It's never going to happen. The only thing that won't change is the fact that things are going to change. So here's the bottom line. Either you make the change or the change is going to make you. Success is never a destination. It's nothing more than a journey. Are you enjoying the journey? You can enjoy success. All that's given to anyone is given to you. Success is never final, but failure is never fatal. No one's ever died from being a failure. An investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You are full of the power of success. Why do I say this? Well, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I'm Dr. G, and I want you to create success. Why not start today? So we're talking about the education. There's so much that we have to unpack. It's hard. We've all agreed it's hard for us to unpack live on the radio. But we have 29 instructors. All of them are practicing real estate investors. I mean, that's what they do for a living. And Renatus is actually a Latin term for rebirth, and we certainly need to be rebirthed financially, didn't we?
And you did.
So what was the first class that captured your attention, Christina?
Well, the very first class that we chose to watch was the creative acquisitions, which we had no clue what that even meant at that time.
I know, creative acquisitions. That sounds like a foreign language, doesn't it?
Yes, and it definitely felt like that. But the moment we started watching that, and Chris Albin, and because he's a teacher at heart too.
Teacher at heart.
Oh my goodness, the way that he was presenting the material was so informative in a way that we totally got it, but it was mind-blowing. Like, what?
And it was it was non-threatening.
Very non-threatening. Yeah. It was so simplistic of a way to teach the material that, yes, for me, I was able to get that. But really what it ended up being was truly an understanding that there's so many different avenues that you can go with real estate. There's so many different ways that you can invest or make money or work in real estate. It just was mind-blowing and exciting at the same time. Like, I thought all you could do was rentals and fix and flips, and then to come to find out there's a world out there of real estate that we had no clue about.
There's subject twos, there's lease options, there's raw land development. There's about 7 or 8 different vocational tracks that we can go on. Yeah. What are your thoughts about what she's saying, Mark?
That's very much mind-blowing to us at the time. I mean, that was our very first class that we looked at, which made me think, what are the rest of these classes going to have? And with over 300 hours of education, I'm sitting here with one instructor for maybe 16 hours of of watching, and like, we have so much to learn. I wanted to watch that one over and over and over again, but I got, well, what's this next class? And we have the legal stuff, and it's like the entity building. Tax and legal was so, like, oh my gosh, it was not only funny, but it was very informative. And
Mark Kohler, who is our legal and tax instructor, he is an attorney. He's a real estate attorney, isn't he?
Absolutely right. And then looking at that class, reflecting back at my painting contract, and being like, oh, there's so many things I did wrong.
Yes.
But you knew how to push a paintbrush.
Exactly. A paintbrush, a sprayer, all that stuff, I could do it. But the business structure side of my life wasn't up to snuff by what I was just learning through our education now. So,
And isn't it interesting, Mark, going back to that, because prior to Renatus, I spent 15 years as a 1099 contractor, okay? And I was in the insurance industry, and I sold a ton of insurance. I built a very successful book of business, and I represented all the major carriers and worked for a large national brokerage, but it was all 1099 straight commission, right? So as me having my own entity, I can manage all my own taxes and take advantage of all the tax benefits that come to business owners.
Yep.
I did not have one CPA, not one accountant, not one financial planner tell me about the tax benefits that I had available by paying my children in the right way. I could have been taking up to $12,000 a year tax deduction at that time. Yes. And I said, how come no one told me this before? But I watched Mark Kohler's tax and legal class, and in about 3 hours, I saw a strategy that I went, oh my gosh, how come I have not been implementing this before?
Right.
Exactly. Even the simplest thing like my cell phone. My company bought my cell phone, so I didn't pay tax on that income from my properties now. My company bought it. So, I spend $800 on a cell phone. What tax would I pay on $800 if I put that in my pocket first and then paid for my cell phone?
Right.
So I'd still be with a flip phone today if it weren't for that.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's what we do. We take our W-2 income, which is taxed, right? Because the tax man gets there first. Then we take that money and then we go buy our phones. And then we pay sales tax at the counter when we buy things. So we're paying double tax on that same dollar that we worked, 40 hours to earn that income. And when you change that measurement, that system, and now it's on a business strategy rather than a personal strategy, spend the same money and pay less in taxes.
And, as I listen to the conversation, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, there is no right age to learn how to change your life financially. How old are you, Mark?
53.
So you were 50 years old when you started with Renatus,
Right.
51. Well, I heard an old saying that 50 is the old age of our youth, but 50 is also the youth of our old age. So you've gotten a whole new start on life, haven't you?
Indeed, and to be very honest about it, hearing your story was very encouraging. When you started this in your 60s, and to see where you've gone with it, like, hey, there was hope for me. After we had lost basically everything, there was
Good night, man. You were only 50. I was 64.
Yeah, 50 and a slacker.
Yeah, right. Oh,
But I mean, my last year or a couple of years ago, I was saving literally 40% of my pay to try to make up for what we lost during the last recession.
oh, bless your heart.
And as we were doing that, we looked at it after a year of doing that going, there is no way, even saving 40 or 50% of my income and doing what the stock market can do for me through my 401, that there's any way that we're going to be not saying, welcome to Walmart when we're older.
Well, and look how the stock
That
market.
is so true. Yeah.
Yeah. Look how the stock market has climbed. Now, the way it's been climbing for the last 18 months, do we have any idea what's ahead?
A correction, maybe?
Maybe, you think?
Yeah, well,
big
what goes up must come down.
Yeah.
You know, I like the way you said that, Mark. You said there's no way that I wasn't going to be saying welcome to Walmart when I retire. And, you know, the thing is, I spent a lot of time, like I said, in the insurance industry, and I did a lot of Medicare insurance. And I sat with a lot of people over age 65. And the high majority of people over age 65 are living their retirement and they're not ready for it.
Right.
They just aren't. And there's no golden parachute. There's no final ripcord. It's just not there. They're having to make do with whatever they did have in a 401k or IRA. And if they didn't have that, which most don't even have that, they've got their social insecurity income.
Right.
And they're working at Walmart and Wendy's to make ends meet. And that's because they went down the path they just stayed with their job for however long it was. And then they're where they're at here now financially.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and live in the studio is Mark and Christina Hill. Just a wonderful couple, and they are just a sample of what the people in our local Veronadas real estate investing communities are all about.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, this coming week, Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum. It's an hour-and-a-half event. It's an exciting event. It's not a dull business meeting. It's not multi-level marketing. It's all about you. You're going to learn how you can change your financial future through the wonderful world of real estate investing. Now, we're not talking about the Donald Trump kind of stuff. We're talking about the down-to-earth, practical, day-to-day business of helping other men and women solve their housing issues so you can help them find safe, affordable housing. I can't tell you today how many people Kevin and I have been able to help. And Mark and Christina are the same way.
Yeah,
you guys have helped a lot of people, haven't you?
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've seen a lot of people help from the other team members.
Yes.
Dozens and dozens.
Absolutely.
And that whole attitude permeates our culture, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a very uplifting environment to go into. Even if I wasn't going to do real estate, I would be in a good place right now because of the development and the positivity of the people I sit around every week.
Man, I love that, Mark. That's great. Hey, listen, if you would like to accept my invitation to be my personal guest, you're going to have to call me, and I'm going to give you my phone number. But, hey, get ready to write it down. And when you call, leave a message with your name and phone number so I can call you back. Okay, here's my phone number. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or, hey, come and visit Kevin and I at our website. It's Wealth Empowers. That's WEALTH Empowers. EMPOWERS. WealthEmpowers.com. Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence. I want to ask Mark and Christina a question. Have you had any family members or friends be negative about you becoming real estate investors?
Leery, yes, not negative.
Yeah.
Our friends and family know better because it's just going to fall on deaf ears at that point.
Yeah.
So we've had
Is he just a little bit stubborn?
He is.
Yeah.
Just a little.
I love it, Mark.
Strong-willed?
That's a good feature now, okay? Because I'm stubborn just like you, dude.
I'm not overly stubborn.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, no, when we put our heart to it, we get the encouragement of family. Some, they want to hear about it, and they will eventually join us, I believe, once they
Sure.
see more and more of our successes. But, they're all going to stand at arm's length until they see it. Because, we had a business before, and that failed. And before that, we had another business that did okay. So they're all going to look at it from the position of we've been in our same positions for 25, 30 years. This is the way to go. This is America. This is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And Mark and Christina are jumping from one job that failed to another thing, and now let's see what this works
Yeah,
out.
we're going to watch him fail again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Type of
That's not
mindset.
going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, when I look at people who've had that job for 25, 30 years, I say, God bless you. You are stronger than I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone to this and maybe it worked and maybe it didn't, and then I moved on to the next thing. But I don't know how you have the fortitude to get up every day, fight that traffic.
Oh, my goodness.
Go sit in that cubicle every day. Let someone else tell you when you can take time off work.
And
Someone
go
else
to the
tells
bathroom.
you, and someone tells you if you can come in today or not. Fight that traffic back home and get home at 6 o'clock at night. Go to bed at 10. Get up and do it all over the next day. God bless you. I just don't know how you have the fortitude to do that every day.
Do you know what I do for entertainment now? And I'm not exaggerating. I get up and I watch the 6 o'clock a.m. news, the local news on Channel 5, and I watch the traffic jams. Do you know that I-10 headed east all the way from out 303 is always bumper to bumper like a friggin' parking lot every day of the week?
Crazy.
I've been there when we lived in Chicago. I mean, there's these fences along the highway, and you can literally count the holes for a mile and probably be accurate within a 5%.
Can you imagine living your life like that?
Yeah.
My heart goes out to those poor folks.
Yeah.
You know, a lady listened to Kevin and I on the radio that lives out in Apache Junction, and she has a job down at 2nd Street and Washington, downtown Phoenix, okay? She drives that every day. It's an hour and 15, hour and 20-minute drive one way if the traffic's good. She makes $15 an hour, but she cannot get out of that prison that she's in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to, Christina and Mark, just talk a little bit about how you're no longer in that prison of working a job or whatever.
Right. So exactly. I mean, working in Chicago, working here in Arizona, it's you go to work, and it's our culture. Let's be honest about it. We're told to go to work. This is what my father did. This is what my father before him did. So the entrepreneurial spirit. So I get how what we're doing might not be for everybody in their mindset, but it truly is. To get up every day and to repeatedly go to a place where I sit in a cubicle. I don't know the person that's six foot to my left and 6 foot to my right because I'm supposed to be working. I have a headset on 40 hours a week. And
you did that at GoDaddy's.
Exactly right. So as you sit, again, I sat next to people for 40 hours a week, and I knew their first name, and we got to know each other. But 6 months from now or a year from now, I'm on another team, or we rearrange. I don't know this person. So people I was friends with just a year or two ago are now merely acquaintances. And it was a very painful part of that job. And in the sense of having to get to know somebody. I mean, I've gone hiking in the Grand Canyon with people, and I don't know them anymore. We've gone out to ball games with some other people. I don't know them anymore. So although it's a good job for some people who have the mindset of just going to work, putting their head down like I had, and that's where they want to be, God bless them. But I mean, to have that spark of entrepreneurship that want to get out there and change the world, make other people's lives better, make a better place and legacy for my kids and grandkids, we needed some place to go, and we're not supposed to place to go for that.
Now, when we talk about work, are you saying you don't work anymore? I mean, do you work?
I work in real estate, and I probably work harder for myself than I would have ever worked for anybody else.
Go.
No offense, GoDaddy, but I'd rather work 100 hours a week for myself than 40 hours for anybody else.
I just got to ask you, what were you making?
Now this is going to explain why I didn't like corporate America either. My best year, I made about $95,000, and eventually GoDaddy thought that's a little bit too much for you to earn, so I took a $20,000 pay cut a couple years ago. And the future was basically, and there's a bonus structure there, so they tweak it to make us work harder for less, and that is just the wave of the future. At one time, GoDaddy, like many companies, was privately owned, and hey, lo and behold, the stock market comes around and knocks on the door like, hey, how about an IPO? So once they came in, the company was bought. They start tweaking things here and there to squeeze more out of us, to make more from the customers.
Right.
And the writing's on the wall. My friends, I mean, when I talked about real estate, when sitting at my desk at GoDaddy, it gathered a small crowd many times. One of my supervisors has joined Renata since then.
Wow.
And,
you go.
I have very little doubt that I'll get a couple of
ripple
people to join us. Yeah, because
there's no saying, build your own dreams or someone else will hire you to build theirs.
Absolutely right. Yeah, we were making a lot of people very rich, and we were making some stockholders very well off.
Absolutely.
And again, I'm not pushing. I mean, GoDaddy and many corporate places are a great place to work.
Sure.
But again, the environment of we can change your life tomorrow. And like you said earlier, Kevin, is like, tomorrow they can think, we're going to get rid of this department.
Yeah.
And you no longer. I saw that happen. People were walked out that were in good standing, but your job no longer exists. And hey, the parking lot is calling
security
your
literally
name.
comes to their cubicle and walks them out of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there is no job security.
No.
Christina, you're sitting there very quiet. What do you think about everything that Mark's been sharing with us?
Yeah, I am just grateful. I'm grateful that we have this opportunity to be a part of real estate.
And Renatus.
Renatus. Yeah, absolutely. This community, everything. So, yeah. The cool thing, the one thing that I was kind of thinking about was such a small percentage of people do work within the real estate realm.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're fearful, perhaps, because it's risky, because, hey, you can't do that, have your children work for you. What?
Yeah.
How? That's illegal. No.
Yeah, don't tell Kevin that.
All of these myths and misnomers, people have these ideas because somebody says something, and then all of a sudden, like you said, Kevin, that's it. Now that's the reason why I can't be a part of that real estate. I can't be a part of that success. So it becomes a very small percentage of people that are working within this field, but huge rewards that come from it.
Yeah.
And it goes far and above beyond making a profit, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's the American dream to me.
Yeah, it's the American. Say that again, Mark.
It's the American dream. I mean, again, growing up in the 60s and 70s, the get-rich-quick schemes that are out there.
Oh, yeah.
And the infomercials that we see on television, and you hear people's stories about they tried this and they failed, or that was a scam. And we grew up with that. And then when we fell into Renatus, of course, we all have our reservations, but when you walk into a community event and you see people who are willing to help you in the sincerity that we walked into, it was, again, jaw-dropping. It was humbling. It would bring a tear to my eye just about now because after it took 2 or 3 events, but you realize these people are not false. I got this person's phone number. I'm going to their house.
Yeah.
I'm having coffee at McDonald's with these folks, and it's just like, this is real. It's sincere.
It's real.
And these people care about me. It's not just, they're not trying to make a buck on me. They're caring that we succeed. They heard our story that you're hearing today, and they want to help us out of that situation.
Mark and Christina, thank you so much for being mine and Kevin's guests this week. We love you guys. It's just good to become better friends. I'm enjoying this. Are you?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and I want to say this. It's so important to remember that you will never become what you need to be by remaining where you are in life. Mm-hmm. You've got to decide things are going to change. Well, and let me tell you about change. Change, when left to chance, gives birth to more conflict. And if you don't change, well, things are never going to change, and I'll guarantee you this. There's one thing that will never change, and that's the fact that things will change. Now, what am I saying to you? What's the bottom line? Here it is. Either you make the change or the change is going to make you. Mark and Christina, well, the change took place, and it made them. But they were blessed. They were introduced to Renatus, and now they decided on the change that they're going to make. The only way anything's going to change, if you stop being a circumstantial creator and become an intentional creator. If you want something to change, you've got to make the change inwardly. You've got to learn how to win from within. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The change starts inside, not on the outside, okay? Success is not a destination. It's a journey, nothing more than a journey. Kevin, you went on that journey. You went through a cycle of loss.
Yes.
You embraced Renatus. Did your destination of your journey change?
Absolutely. My destination, where I'm always working towards it, but the direction has changed, and we're definitely in a better place, and I'm grateful to be a part of it and grateful to make an influence and impact in other people's lives.
Mark, you got started when you were 51 years old. You're only 53 now?
Correct.
You're just a young puppy.
Yes, thank you.
Can you imagine where you and Christina are going to be by the time you're 60?
Absolutely. Again, with grandkids coming around, we have a legacy to show them and to provide them, and a path to show them that it just breaks our heart to how much better that we're going to be in this situation. And we'll have the time and the freedom to spend with those kids and the future grandkids to show them that.
I bet you're excited about that, aren't you,
I'm
Christina?
very excited about that. Helping my grandkids.
I'll tell you, we'll have to get you and Sylvia together. We have 7 grandchildren.
Oh, they're a blessing.
I know it. They really
Yes.
are. There's no saying, if I knew my grandchildren would have been so much fun, I would have had them first, Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can change the direction of your future. It's up to you. You can succeed. All that's been given to anyone, God's already given it to you. He hasn't favored anyone more than you, okay? Now listen carefully. Success is never final. Success does not have a certain destination point. It's the lifestyle that you're living. Whether or not you can call that success is what the issue is. Failures never fail. Just because you fail doesn't mean that you're going to die from it. You've heard mine and Kevin's stories of failings, but we've recovered, and you can too. See, an investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You're full of the power of success. And why do I say this? Well, it's real simple. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I'm Dr. G, and I want you to create success. Why not start today? Right now is a good time.
It's been said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. No matter your circumstances, there is a solution to your situation. Dr. G and Kevin invite you to explore the possibilities of creating a new financial platform that you control and no longer allow yourself to be controlled by the circumstances of your life. Visit them at wealthempowers.com. That's WealthEmpowers.com. Come and meet Dr. G and Kevin at the Investor Business Forum. Oh, one last thought. Isn't it time for you to stop making a living and start making a life? Call Dr. G and Kevin at 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645.